Welcome back to Session 4 of this course, which guides us in mindfully and compassionately moving through times of transition and challenge by dwelling fully in the present moment. In the last session, we explored the power of accepting times of transition and difficulty as a way to move through them more gracefully. Today's session is on how we can weather the storms of our life through the grounding practices of mindful walking and belly breathing. In my final years as a nun in the Plum Village community, I went through a time of real existential crisis about what I should be doing with my life. I was considering whether to leave the monastery, which was a huge question to be holding. I had spent my whole adult life in the monastic community, from age 24 till nearly 40, and had a clear identity and role as an elder sister in the community. Contemplating a future outside the monastery, there was no clear path ahead of me. No job, no relationship, no new identity, no security at all. And yet I couldn't stay in robes just because it was comfortable and known. Something was calling to me that I couldn't ignore. At the time, I was living at our center in Germany, where we were about to host 2 large retreats of about 1,000 people each. I had been quite involved and engaged in those retreats for years, but I felt I couldn't stay this time because of how unclear I was feeling. So I asked the sisters if I could go to Plum Village in France instead. They were not very pleased and said I needed to ask Tai. I went to Tai and said, I have no space inside and I cannot see myself staying here for these retreats. It's too much for me. He heard me out quietly, which he would always do, and then said, Yes, I hear all that you're saying, and you can stay here. In other words, you're capable of staying. I pressed on, insisting, But it's so tight inside, I'm totally up against a wall. He replied, This is exactly the time when you need to take refuge in the basic practices of mindful sitting, breathing, and being aware of each step. Anytime you walk, you're aware you're taking this step. When you take a breath, you're aware you're taking this breath. As I listened to him speak, something in me relaxed, and I realized he was right. He was seeing a capacity in me that I couldn't see in myself. Something quickly shifted in me, and I realized that I could stay. He made it clear that I didn't need to be on the front lines, facilitating a sharing group, making announcements, and so on, but that I could just stay and be there with the community. I was willing to try. After that, things became workable. Tai had given me a great gift with that teaching, reminding me of the basic practices of mindful walking and mindful breathing helped me to weather that storm. And my experiences of both retreats were affirming and empowering. I didn't have major responsibilities in the first retreat, but I was nourished by the energy of the community and participated in all the activities. By the second retreat, I was ready to facilitate a group. I was in touch with how beautiful it is to be part of a large body of people practicing mindfulness, and realized I had the capacity to persevere and find my center in the very midst of crisis and confusion. I wouldn't have learned that about myself if I had run away. We can shift our experience of overwhelm by this basic practice of being with what is here and now. So much of the overwhelm and the stress comes from all that we are projecting onto the future, all the fear. But in this moment, right here, there is the ability to recognize fear, to be with fear, and to not be swallowed by it. There is non-fear, and we can touch that. If we're running, then it's fear that's running the show. But if we can stop, we have the chance to touch into something deeper than the overwhelm. So I'd like to invite us to do together the basic practices that Tai reminded me to return to in that stormy time in Germany. The first one we'll do is belly breathing. Imagine a large tree in a storm. The tops of the trees are waving about violently in the wind. But if you look down at the trunk of the tree, it's firm, very solid. It's the same with us. In times of emotional turmoil, it's dangerous to stay at the level of our minds, in the upper branches. They can get us into real trouble if we feed those thoughts of anxiety or anger or despair. Instead, we need to come down to our trunk, to our belly, which is stable and steady. There we'll be safe. We bring all of our awareness to our belly and don't let our attention get caught up in the thrashing of the upper branches of our thinking mind, not at least until they calm down and the storm passes. So let's try this out. Find a comfortable way to lie down on your back, either on the floor or on your bed. It can be helpful to find a larger book, a pound bag of rice, or a cushion that weighs a few pounds to place on your abdomen. But if a weight isn't comfortable, you can remove it. You can also do this practice sitting or standing without the weight. Begin to feel your breath coming in and flowing out. Notice how your belly rises and falls. Rising with the in-breath, falling with the out-breath. Rising, falling. Keep all of your attention on the rising and falling of your belly. If your mind gets pulled into the turmoil of thinking or strong emotions, bring it back gently, kindly, to rest on the sensation of your belly rising and falling, rising and falling. Just that. Stay here for some minutes or longer, as needed, until the storm has passed. As you're ready, gently return to this moment. This is a very helpful practice to share with the young people in our lives, children or teens, young adults. It can be a very useful tool in a time of crisis and can even save someone's life. Taking your time, come to a standing position. The next practice we'll do is mindful walking. Choose a place where you can walk about 10 to 20 steps back and forth, either indoors or outdoors. We can apply mindful walking to many challenging situations. I know of a family who is traveling with their small children to several countries on sabbatical. The father practiced mindful walking, being aware of each step, with his crying toddler, up and down the aisle of the airplane to help himself and his child calm down and weather the storm. Tai shares about how he practiced walking mindfully when he was in a serious depression after working to end the war in Vietnam and losing many loved ones in the conflict, and how that practice for several hours a day helped him heal and come out of that depression. So how do we do it? When we walk in awareness, we can begin walking a bit slower than usual, bringing all of our attention down to the soles of our feet and feeling the contact between our feet and the earth. We let ourselves rest in every step. We're not rushing into the future, but resting back in this moment, right in this step. All of our awareness is on just this step, right here, right now. So begin to take a few steps, slowly, with full awareness. Feel the way your body moves to allow a step to happen. Feel the shifting from one foot to the other. How you're able to keep your balance. Notice the movement of your body through space. Let yourself relax and enjoy your steps. We're not trying to arrive anywhere, but right in the present moment. If you like, you can also combine your breath with your steps. Notice how you breathe in as you take a few steps, and then breathe out as you take a few steps. You could say in as you breathe in and take a step, and out as you breathe out and take a step. Let your body release tension with every step. Connect with the earth, feeling grounded. As Tai says, you can kiss the earth with every step. Enjoy a gentle smile, implanting your peace and freedom on the earth in every step. And if thoughts and worries arise, acknowledge them and return your attention to the contact between your feet and the earth. Wonderful. Breathing in, I go back to the island within myself. There are beautiful trees within the island. There are clear streams of water. There are birds, sunshine, and fresh air. Breathing out, I I feel safe. I enjoy going back to my island. In this fourth session, we've explored how we can develop faith in ourselves to endure and persevere when we think we've reached our limit. And we've learned how to weather the storms of our challenging times through the practice of belly breathing and walking mindfully. In the next session, we'll focus on mindfulness of impermanence and how practices of purposely contemplating impermanence can help us live more deeply.